Hello everyone, Lisa here. Welcome to What's Crafting Wednesday. Did you miss me last week? I certainly missed all of you. I hope everyone had a wonderful 2 weeks. I hope it was a crafty time for you. So we are going to start, of course, by jumping into our drawing from last week. And I thank everybody. I had a lot of comments and a lot of positive posts on these 2 cards, and the blue base seemed to be the favorite among everyone. So I think I did the red one as my sample and the blue one live. So instead of red, white, and blue, everybody likes blue, white, and red. All right, so I have my names here. I had lots of comments last time. That makes me so happy. Okay, so I have all my tickets in there. So I got a good mix here. And I have a ticket. And this week's winning name is Annette. Well, congratulations, Annette. I have these cards here for you. Oh, just in case you did miss my last Facebook Live, this was triple time stamping. I went with a red, white, and blue theme. I used the Impressions of Bloom stamp set. Use your imagination a little bit. It does look like fireworks. And there's the inside. And as I said during my live, these cards could be used for anything. Does not necessarily need to be for 4th of July. Birthday, retirement, lots of different occasions you could use these cards for. So, Annette, I'm sure you will put them to very good use. Okay, everyone, we are doing a craft along tonight. I haven't done that in quite a while. So I hope all of you are as excited about it as I am. And if you're not crafting along tonight, well, that's okay. Just watch. And I hope at another time you will go ahead and make the card that we're making tonight. And if you are crafting along, I hope you like this so much that you continue to make it on your own. So tonight we are making, I chose a birthday sentiment, but of course, depending on your paper or sentiment, could be used for a variety of occasions. But mine tonight is a birthday card. And I use this pretty paper, Florals in Bloom. And of course, I chose the purple theme because purple is my favorite color. So my card base is Fresh Freesia, and I use 2 different patterns. But in my list of supplies that I had posted earlier, this one here you could omit, but I kind of liked having the 2 patterns together. Okay, so what is so special about this card that we had to have a craft along tonight? Well, what is special is it is a card with a bonus, or with a little gift if you want. It has a removable bookmark. And then even when you take the bookmark out, look how pretty the card still is. And here's the inside. I just did a little stamping. If you didn't want to stamp on the inside, you could put a little strip of the DSP in there. You could put a sentiment. I decided just to keep it simple. So let me go over the supplies with you. I have my packet here. I hope everyone is ready. Of course, I have an envelope. And these 2 pieces here are for the bookmark. And I do have my little cheat sheet here. So the cardstock is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and the basic white is 2 by 5, and we'll put that aside. And these 2 pieces here are just scraps I have for doing the sentiment. I know they're kind of big scraps. And then for the inside of the card, I have basic white, your usual 4 by 5 1/4. And the DSP for the front is 4 by 5 1/4 and 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to put everything off to the side. And our cardstock base, I'm using Fresh Freesia. It is 5 1/2 by 11. And I'm using the Impressions of Bloom stamp set again for decorating my envelope, the inside, and the bookmark. I guess you can tell that I absolutely love this set. I've been using it so much. I'm using Simply Said for the sentiment, another stamp set that I absolutely love. I pulled out the Be My Valentine just for this extra little flower here for the bookmark. And also the beautiful butterflies for the little splatters. And that's also for the bookmark. So, are we ready? Let's get started. Grab your paper trimmer because we're going to be scoring. So we're going to put our cardstock in 11" across the top. We're going to score first at 2 1/2. We're going to go 2 1/2. And then we'll have to open up the arm because we're going to score at 6 3/4. Is 6 3/4 right? Let me see. Sounds a little big. Take that off. Let me grab my initial scribbled instructions. Yeah, 6 3/4 is right. Okay. Just sounded like a funny measurement. So we did the 2 1/2. You're going to turn your cardstock the other way, and we're going to put it back in, and we're going to score at 6 3/4. Okay, and the reason we flipped the cardstock was because we're going to be folding this card in 2 different directions. So we're first going to fold at the 6 3/4 mark. So we have our indent there, so we're folding in that way. And then we're going to take and we're going to fold that back out that way. All right, now we're going to make a little cut on here. Do I have a pencil? I had a pencil. You would think I'd be prepared, right? I know I had a pencil here earlier. I saw it. Ah, there it is. Okay. So we're going to bring our paper trimmer back because now we're going to make a little cut on here. And I believe this was down 2 1/2 or 2 3/4. Let me look at that. That is... Let me just double check. There's my 2 1/2. Yeah, 2 1/2. Okay, so you're going to put your paper in here and just make a little mark at 2 1/2. Right there. And then we are going to put the cardstock in, and we're going to line up our folds in the track, and we're going to bring our little tick mark down to the track also. So make sure you have your fold there in the track, and then your little tick mark, and then we're going to cut. Just go right up there. Take that off. And if you have a little rough, I have a little rough spot there. You can just trim it with your paper snips. Okay. And that makes your pocket for the bookmark. So then next we will add our piece of DSP here to the front. And we'll be using Tombow for everything. And when we get to adhering this down, you'll see why Tombow is the best to use for this. If you're using a directional DSP, just make sure you have it going in the right direction. Just center it like you would for any other card. Okay. And now we're going to take our little strip here, and we're also going to trim this down. So this here you can just eye now that you line it up on here, and you can just make your little tick mark there. So we'll put this here back into the paper trimmer, and we'll cut this angle off also. So again, you're going to put your corner in the cutting track, and then your little tick mark that you made. And then we're just going to slice this off also. And now hopefully when you match it up, it fits. And it does. So next we will glue this piece on. And if you opted not to have the additional, this additional piece of DSP, that is fine also. I just love these two patterns together. So, so pretty. Okay. And now we're going to glue this pocket down. That's why you want to use the Tombow, because you don't want it to, you want to have a very thin line of adhesive, because otherwise your bookmark won't fit. So just put a little bit of glue just along the edge here. Not too close to the edge because it will seep out, but you just don't want to make it very thick. That's why we're not using tear and tape, because that's the 1/4 inch and it would be too big. So just little thin along the bottom and the side there. And then we're just going to bring it over and let it adhere. So we'll put this off to the side now while we decorate our bookmark. Now you can stamp it with anything. You can even just put a sentiment if you wanted. I was just having a lot of fun using this stamp set. So I will pull my bookmark out. And the colors I'm using are Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, Garden Green, and what's the new in color? Secret Sea? Secret Sea. So let's get started. And if you're stamping your bookmark, just stamp right along with me. So first I'm going to do my stems here. Kind of didn't measure anything, just eyeing it. And then I will do the 2 daisies, and I'm going to turn it as I stamp it so that they aren't both facing the same direction. So we'll start with this one here. Turn it a little this way because I don't want it to go off the edge. Okay, and now we'll turn this one a little bit. Okay. And then we will stamp the centers. So the first one I'm going to stamp off. And then with this one, I will stamp full strength. And then I forgot when I had the green out to add the leaves. Now this leaf is a little larger than I want to use, so I'm just going to stamp it partially. A little bit there, and a little bit on that side. And the same thing up here. Now I'm going to take the fresh freesia again, and I'm just going to randomly stamp some of these small flowers around here. And you don't have to stamp the whole thing either. They can go off the edge. Okay, and then I will fill in with the splatters of the Secret Sea. And that's just to fill in these white spaces here. Just a little random stamping. And as I'm stamping, I am turning it around because the splatters do have a direction. A little bit up there, and let me just put a little there, and maybe a little there. Okay, I think that looks good. What do you think? And then we're going to glue the bookmark together. So just run your Tombow along here. And I got this down a little too far actually, so let me just wipe some of that off there so it doesn't smear out. Okay. And then we're going to center it here. If you wanted, you could take a yellow marker and fill in the centers. I opted to leave it plain. So I have this little slit punch here. This is part of a trio pack, and offhand I don't remember the name of the punch pack. So you just eye it, and hopefully you have it centered in the bookmark. And I took about 12 inches of ribbon. It was a little more than I needed, but I will have to trim the tails. So when, little trick to know if your ribbon is going in the right direction or not. This way here, you could see it is wrong. It's the opposite way of the way it was rolled around the spool. So the right direction of the ribbon is when it curls that way. So I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to go from the front to the back, like so, and then I'm going to pull that through. And you could leave it like this. I tied some linen thread around it because that holds that. Yes, you could see 12 inches was quite a lot. Get some of this linen thread here. You can use linen thread, baker's twine. I use the linen thread because I happen to have it out on my craft table. So I'm just going to take it and wrap it around just right above here where I had pulled it through. And I did not grab it right, so let me start that over. Let me make sure that's tight again. Just pull it right down there. And you could play with this if you needed to move it around. But I am going to knot this because I want to make sure it does not come out. And then I'm going to tie a bow. Wish me luck. Oh, that was pretty easy. Let me just make it look a little prettier. All right, and then I'm going to tie this again, just so that the bow doesn't come loose, because again, it is a bookmark. It will be being used. And now we can trim the tails on the bookmark. And I'm going to trim the tails on here a little bit as well. And then we have the inside of the card. Hope I didn't go too fast. I hope everybody has been able to keep up with me. I will have the measurements once I edit the video a little bit, put my title in. I will post the measurements along with the video so that you do have them easily to read. This here is the inside of the card. It's the standard 4 by 5 1/4 basic white. And I'm just going to stamp the flower coming up in the corner like on the envelope here. So if you're stamping along and you want to stamp the inside of your card, or if you have some extra DSP, you could just put that along the bottom. My stem, and now my daisy. Turn it so it doesn't go off the edge of the paper. Okay. And then my centers. So if you look at the DSP, I was trying to mimic the pattern in it with my stamping. So hopefully I succeeded with that. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm again just going to put a little bit of a leaf on the bottom. And that is all for the inside of the card. So now we just need to adhere this. And just centered like you do in your normal card making. And now it's time for a sentiment, if you're choosing to put a sentiment on the front. So I will be stamping my happy birthday in fresh freesia. And then I'm going to punch that out with the 1 3/4 circle punch. And I'm just going to do a little bit of embellishing around the sentiment. So I'm going to grab the bubble bath, and let me just clean this off a little bit because I used it with the darker shade. And just putting a couple little flowers on here. And then I will add just a little bit of green also, because I do want it to stand out with the garden green cardstock in the back. So I'm just taking a little bit of this and putting a little bit of a leaf there, and I think just a little bit of a leaf up there. Okay. And then I will punch out garden green matte. And this I'm gluing down, and then we will pop it up on the card with dimensionals. I have Harry here hitting my arm. I think he's ready for his dinner. Note to self, next time feed him before I start Facebook Live. Okay, so now it is time to put our bookmark into our pocket here. So that will just slide right in. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals and add the sentiment to the front. And how many dimensionals will I use tonight? I don't know. Let me see. Let me see how many I can fit on here. All right, so what do I have so far? I have 6, and of course I have to put one in the middle because we can't have it sag. Pull these off quickly. As quickly as I can. Is anybody here, Harry? He's like attacking me right now. And I want to put the top of this right there where the pocket starts. And of course, I have to add a little bling, especially if Wendy's watching. I have to have bling. So I'm just going to put a rhinestone in the center of each one of these little flowers, because everything's better with bling. And lastly, we have our envelope, which is very easy, just mimicking the inside of the card. So again, just stamp my little stem. Leave that open because I will need to do the leaves. Flower. And stamp off first. And lastly, just my 2 little leaves here. Okay. And that, my crafty friends, I think is it. Let me see. I put my bookmark back in here just to show you the card again. There. And this one here is my sample. So I'm putting my bookmark back in, and the envelope, and then the one that we just made tonight. Okay, my crafty friends, I hope you liked tonight's card. It's a bookmark card, but I like to call it a card with a bonus, a card with a gift. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope if you haven't made this before that you learned something. I really hope you crafted along with me. Leave a message. Let me know if you crafted along. Or let me know if you just watched and you're going to be making this card. All right, everyone. I thank you for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday evening. Leave me some love. Leave me some comments. Let me know. And I will be reading them and hopefully enjoying what you have to say. And remember, you will get entered in the drawing for these cards for next week. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful crafty week. I will see you back here next Wednesday. Don't know yet what we will be making. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see, let me know. I'll take it under advisement and hopefully make what you ask for. Okay, everyone. Again, have a wonderful crafty week. Thank you so much. Bye.